Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and the day is almost here. Tomorrow, Season 20 ends, which is always a great day for a lot of us that dropped a bunch of SR. At me, please. But the ending of Season 20, if you at all pass the kindergarten grade, means that Season 21 is going to be following right after. However, Season 21 is going to be vastly different compared to even the last couple of seasons because we are going to have hero bans. Oh yeah, did you forget about that? Did you forget that we're going to have hero bans in Season 21? Granted, it's supposedly only going to be for Season 21, unless we really like it, which, in my honest opinion, I kind of do like it because it's going to keep things very fresh, but that doesn't mean there won't be a set meta, or at least people won't try to set a meta. And that's why I want to do my usual video where I list the best heroes going into the next season, but I do want to warn you guys that I will be listing off 1 tank, 2 DPS heroes, and 1 support hero, and one of these heroes could easily be banned in the first week, or even all 4 heroes could be banned. So if you're watching this video after Season 21 happens and you're thinking, you're an idiot, these heroes are banned, well, they're not gonna be banned next week, so just slow your roll down, alright? Edgy 13-year-old, I get it, you're going through some changes. But now that we established that you're going through puberty, now let's talk about some heroes that you can use in Season 21. Now, it's not to say that these are the end-all be-all heroes, but in my personal opinion, they will give you the best advantage when going against really a large majority of heroes. And if it's going to be forever changing, where only one of these times this hero will be banned, then I feel like these will be good staple heroes. First, talk about some DPS heroes, because it seems like there's only a handful of good DPS heroes nowadays, and the first one is Mei. For years, I've been saying that Mei has been meta, and now just recently, all of a sudden, everyone's a Mei main. Now, all of a sudden, everyone wants to play Mei, and even though she is going to be receiving a nerf a couple weeks going into Season 21, it's not really going to be affecting so much of her gameplay because they're really only nerfing her wall. And even then, it's not like her wall is going to be completely useless. In my video where I talked about Blizzard nerfing my favorite hero, Mei, I did say that that's really only going to be effective when it comes to a defensive Mei playstyle. Something like on Hanamura, New Bonnie, or Temple of Anubis, you're going to see that Mei is not going to be really the most effective. I mean, she still will be effective. She's just not going to be as effective as beforehand. But if you're being aggressive on a control map, or even if you're using attacking Mei, you're still going to see great success using her because she's really the only hero that can command someone to just stay still for like 5 goddamn seconds. I wish I could tell my dog that. Her toolkit allows great utility and great survivability. I mean, you can go on top of the wall, not to mention her ice block, which means that she's going to be crying for less heals compared to other DPS heroes like Genji or even Pharah. But on top of that, her DPS, while it's not the best in the world, she can obviously 1v1 basically any hero with the exception of Reaper and maybe McCree. But what makes her really an effective DPS is not the fact that she can get kills, which she can, but she can open the door for other DPS heroes to go off. I mean the fact that you can slow down any immobile hero, be it a Zarya, you can still do a lot of damage if you have another DPS on your side, which leads in perfectly to the next best DPS hero they can use in Season 21, and I'm gonna be going with Reaper. Now, the idea of the Mei and Reaper tandem is somewhat gonna be similar to what I talked about in the best heroes to use in Season 20, where I listed Mei and Hanzo, and the idea was Mei's gonna freeze someone, Hanzo's gonna storm arrow someone, and it's gonna be a good deal. So why am I going with Reaper this time around instead of Hanzo? Well, you have to remember a couple of months ago, shields were everything, and then eventually they got nerfed. You're starting to see a lot less Orisa. Sigma's still somewhat playable, but you're starting to see a lot more Reinhardt and Zarya because that tandem is so popular and so powerful. But you have to remember, Reinhardt's gonna be banned for 1 week, and then Zarya is gonna be banned for another week. Meaning you might start to see even less shields, which means it's gonna open the door for the tank buster Reaper to come in and rain havoc on the other tanks, be it a lonely Zarya, or be it a lonely D.va, a Hammond, a Roadhog. And whenever it comes to Hanzo, yeah, he can do that stuff extremely well, but I feel like when it comes to a tandem purpose, like with Mei, you're gonna want someone who can just burn someone down. Hanzo can't really do that compared to Reaper. Again, that's going off the idea that you're gonna start to see even less shields going into Season 21, but that's not to say that you can't use Hanzo, because I've gone on record, and I'll even go on record right now in saying that Hanzo is one of the best DPS heroes to use of all time because that he can kill tanks and squishies. But if you want to have effective cohesion, use a Mei and Reaper. It's a sight to see. It's so beautiful, and Reaper, it's kind of fun. It's different, but he's always been a solid hero. And with Mei, you can have 2 edgy demon lords. But what about the tank? The tanks are gonna be so interesting because, like I mentioned before, we have a tandem right now that is somewhat considered meta, and that is Zarya and Reinhardt. You don't really see double shields all that much because Orisa got nerfed into the ground. Rest in peace, my main tank. But like I mentioned before, it's always hard to play Zarya and Reinhardt with other tanks. It's hard to play a Roadhog with a Reinhardt or Zarya with a Hammond. It's possible, but they feed off of each other so well. But I decided not to go with either of these tanks because they will be banned eventually, and I decided to say d.va will be an excellent tank choice in Season 21. You know, it's kind of embarrassing, I'll admit, that a couple of weeks ago, I made a video talking about heroes that needed a buff, and I said d.va needed a buff, and I wasn't too wrong because you do want to play a Zarya and a Reinhardt more often, but a big reason why I'm saying that d.va is going to be a good choice to use for this up and coming season is because she really doesn't need to be used in tandem with anyone. If Reinhardt gets banned for that week, so what? You can still run a dive tactic with d.va. If Winston gets banned, yeah, that kind of hurts when it comes to diving, but d.va can still do an excellent job with Hammond, who cares? You know, I'm listing off these tanks that could possibly be banned, but it doesn't matter. d.va's still going to be holding strong with or without these other tanks. And I do think you need that solid go-to hero week in, week out, where you know that hero is going to be banned for at least 1 week, but for 7 out of the 8 weeks, you know d.va's always going to be there. You don't know if Zarya is going to be there or Reinhardt's going to be there and how that's going to affect the meta, but when it comes to d.va, you do have that protection that can kind of not really replace it as well as a shield, but at least somewhat replace it, and you have the DPS potential that Zarya's always had it, or that Roadhog always has, and you have that divey mobility potential that Hammond always has. Having that reliable solo action, which is me every night, a consistent reliability factor is something that every single tank player needs. And I'm not saying that if you're a Reinhardt main or a Zarya main that you need to ditch your main completely and switch over to d.va, but what I'm saying is, and the whole point of this series ever since season like 12 or whenever I started, is that you need to keep playing your main because that's what you can consistently win with, but you need to learn more heroes to be able to be versatile. Not flexible, because there's a huge difference between being versatile and flexible. Versatile means that you can get the job done with any hero. Flexible means that you can oblige to your teammates' request on switching on to a different hero. If you're a Reinhardt main day in and day out, then take this off season 2. Maybe learn d.va. It's a completely different hero, but you need to learn that off tank for the off chance. See what I did there? Off tanking. I'll kill myself. I'm sorry. You need to learn a new tank besides just Reinhardt because he's gonna be banned eventually. And what are you gonna do? Go outside and play like in the playground? No, you're gonna stay inside and play Overwatch and keep grinding because that is the dream and that is the goal, to get top 500 and to get laid. I still need to get laid because I hit top 500 a long time ago and that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's because I haven't gotten top 500 on support. Oh, speaking of support, what's the best healer to use in Season 21? It's Lucio. It's Lucio, just like every single competitive season. There's not ever been a time where Lucio's been bad. You can always use a Lucio. And because of that fact, I actively try to pick other healers that you can play other than him because, again, you can always use a Lucio, but what are other healers? Because especially now, there's going to be a week where you can't play Lucio. But remember, there's going to be 7 other weeks where you can play Lucio, and he's just that good right now. He's not getting nerfed anytime soon. Why do Lucio mains have it so good? Now, I do also want to say, for all you secondary healer players that aren't playing Lucio, try not to use 2 secondary healers in a composition because you might not have enough heals, even with a Brigitte, unless you're really aggressive with Brigitte. Always try to use a Lucio and a Moira, which is the other hero that I almost suggested to use going into Season 21, or even a Lucio and Mercy. Mercy's stock has been slowly rising, or maybe even a Lucio and Ana, unless you're on console. Then just use a Lucio Moira. It's a lot more easier, I promise. That's not to say that Baptiste isn't good. That's not to say that Brigitte isn't. That's not to say any healer or really any hero is bad for that fact of the matter. I'm just trying to give you a variety of heroes to pick because not only will your main be banned, like they will, no matter how meta or unmeta they are, but it's also good to learn more heroes than what you typically main. And especially the heroes that are a good part of the meta, those are the kind of heroes that you want to try to learn. You don't want to try to learn a Tracer right right now. You don't really want to learn a Zenyatta necessarily right now. These heroes, while you might not necessarily be good with them right away, if you take the time to learn and practice them, they will give you that competitive edge that you otherwise couldn't have had if you were playing someone like Symmetra or a Genji. But that's not to say if you do play Symmetra and or a Genji or any other hero and you actively win that you need to ditch that hero completely. And for anyone that thinks I'm trying to sway you from playing who you're comfortable with or just who you really like, that's incorrect. You can do whatever you want. I'm not your dad. Even though lots of people say I am, I'm not. Can't afford that much child support. You could do whatever the heck you want. But anyway, guys, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck in season 21. Make sure you grind it out, especially with hero bans, because if your counter is banned for that week, live it up. If you're a Genji main and Winston gets banned, have an amazing time. But I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.